more than the armor and weapons we wield. Vikings are judged by the homes that we build. What's up, gamers? Welcome to GameStar Nation. My name is Rob, and today I'm going to show you how to build better buildings in Valheim. Now, I'm going to break this video into two parts. First, I'm going to build a basic building, one you expect to find or build in the early game. And then we're going to update that house or upgrade it with some details to kind of give it some flair. So for those of you who already know how to build a basic house and you're just looking for ways to dress it up a bit, I'll go ahead and put a timestamp in the video here so that you can jump right to the section on upgrading or detailing. And those of you who are just like, a full course, you can just stay put right here and I'll show you everything. So first off, let's go ahead and bring up our HUD and grab our hammer. And of course, we're going to open the build menu. And the first thing you want to do with the house, really, you'll be tempted to lay it flat on the ground, but really for the best look and to make things easier on yourself, you should really frame your house. You should give it a foundational framing. So we go ahead and start with a 1 meter pole right there, and then we're going to switch to wood beam 2 meters, and we're just going to kind of bring some of those out. Now don't worry if you're not quite sure exactly what you're going to do yet. You can shape it out here and you can change it as you go. So I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to go with kind of a basic. Let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, we're just going to do that. We're going to do 4 wide. A bit of a smaller house, but it's okay. It's just for demonstration purposes. So you go ahead and bring it out. Every 3 you bring it out, you're going to want to drop supporting beam right there on the ground. And then kind of continue your build from there. Just switching back and forth between the pole and the beam. We need some more wood. Okay, so there we go. Then we have a stable flat platform to build on. And now we're just going to grab the wood floor 2 by 2, and we're going to go ahead and lay our floor. Now there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do the typical way of just kind of lay it out like this, or for something a little fancier, you can rotate it every other block. And then rotate the other way, connect in between. And it ended up making kind of a fancy little pattern right there. And actually, you could keep both of these. We could put a little spacer here across the floor to separate the rooms if you'd like. But we're not going to do the internal detailing in this video. All right, so now we just build the walls. A really good height for a house, at least for the first floor, is about 3 meters tall. So we grab these 2 meter walls right here. We're just going to put them all the way around the house. Make sure when you're laying walls that you either press up against an already existing wall, or in this case where you have everything kind of spaced out, you can just pick the floor piece on each one because they're all touching. The problem is if you just start kind of going wherever it seems to snap in place, sometimes you'll end up having it where the wall sticks out and doesn't match up perfectly and you'll get gaps and stuff. Now we're going to need a door, so let's go ahead and put door in here. We're just going to go with just a basic wooden door. I would like it centered. I don't want a double door, so I'm going to grab the wood wall 1x1, and we're going to put up little side planks right there. That is a nicer door we use for upgrading, but we're just going to go with the basic one. Now, whenever you have a door with these bottom framings, you're going to have to remove the frames because they're going to create a little lip that you'll have a hard time climbing over when your pockets are full. And so now we're just going to put in a little 1 meter here on each side, just kind of match it up. And then if you grab a wood stair, always do a stair to the door. Even if your house is sitting on the ground, still run stairs down. It just kind of closes any gaps that may be there that would prevent you from smoothly walking up into the house. Okay, so this is 2 meters high, and like I said, good height for the walls is 3 meters. So we're going to grab the wood half walls now, and we're going to go around the house again. with the half walls all the way around. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a small little platform where I can easily build from. Of course, ladders are always a popular choice. Just want to get it up above the wall so that you can properly point at the top of it so that your pieces snap together perfectly. And this is all assuming that you've built the foundation perfectly to begin with. If you see gaps and stuff in the wall, you have a piece mismatched. Find the piece, break it, and fix it. Don't just assume that that's the way the game works, because the game will snap pieces together properly if given the opportunity. Okay, now we're gonna go with a roof. You can either go with, you know, a 45 degree or a 26 degree, depending on what you're really going for in the looks. I think we're gonna go ahead and go with a 45 degree roof. So at this point, you'll just aim towards the top of the existing pieces and drop that in place as well. Same rules. If you want to make sure that it's connected, you can either touch the side of the wall and it snaps in place, or if your foundation is perfect already, you can just aim at the foundation. Now we're going to do that on the other side here. Now, if you can angle it just right from down here, you'll get to snap upwards perfect. Once you get one piece to do it, it's kind of easy then to connect the others off of that. And really, building a house is really this simple. You don't have to do anything fancy. It can still look good when you're done. But I'm telling you, the small details, which we'll cover, really make big differences. Okay, so now we have walls and we have a roof, but most houses in the world don't have big old gaps like you see here. So we're gonna go ahead and fill that in. The easiest way to do that is to pick these wood wall, 45 degree angle, or again, if you're going with less of a peaked roof, you can use the 26 degree. Just go ahead and match up the little wood wall degrees with the roof, the same one you have for the roof. And these, be careful these snap in the right spot. Make sure it's lined up well. The sun glare is creating an issue, hard to see. Sorry about that. We'll get a good angle when I'm all done here to get a look at what's going on. Okay, so we have that. That's kind of matched up, and then we're just going to go ahead and fill in wood walls. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This side's much easier to see what's going on. And look at that. Oh, we have a basic house. This is something that you basically just find in, you know, kind of any starting world. Or I say find. It would take a player to make it. The ones that you actually find are a little wonkier, a little weirder. But no self-respecting house is without windows. So let's go ahead and make some basic windows here. I'm going to break this whole side. And actually, we're going to do this top part too. Now we don't want the house to fall apart, so be careful as you remove things that none of the items turn red. So now to get walls centered, we're just going to use a half wall at the bottom here. Now windows are completely up to you. Whatever you like the look of, you can go with. I'm just going to give you some basic ideas here. But of course, you don't have to do this. You can do whatever you'd like. Should we do one big open window or two smaller? Let's go with two smaller windows. Okay, let me repeat that on the other side. Okay, so we've got some basic windows. And that pretty much is a basic house right there. And you can live in that the rest of your life and probably be perfectly happy. But I've got a few things to dress this up a bit more. Now, part of a house, an important part, is actually a fireplace as well. And while it is more interior decorating, which is something I'm really going to avoid for the most part in this video, we definitely have to do a fireplace because, well, it's essential. All right, so we're going to actually raise up the ground a little bit here. We can't put a fireplace on direct wood, so we got to kind of bring the earth up. Let me just get this right where I want it here. Okay, now I'm just going to flatten the ground out here so it kind of matches up to the house. There we go. Looking good. So now we can go ahead and put a fireplace down. We're going to center that right there. And then we're going to go back into building, and we're just going to grab the little 1 meter wood planks and bring it closer to the fire. Great. And then we're going to grab the 2 meters and we're just going to give it a little kind of surrounding divider there. Okay, so we are getting smoked out right now. That's okay. Now, your fireplace, that could be enough. You do need to vent it though, but I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of detailing, which is gonna kind of also help the fire, the smoke find its way out. We're just gonna grab these X's and see if we can snap it right on top like that. I think we wonkied that one. Let me go ahead and build another platform again real quick. Now, whenever you can't get, if you're trying to use these little building crosses and they don't want to snap in place, you can actually put a half wall up and they will snap much easier to a half wall. And then after you put them on, you can break the half wall as long as you just carefully select it. So now that we have the half walls up, when we grab these crosses, they're able to snap right into that half wall, just like that. Real easy, like. Makes it super easy. You can leave it like that if you like the look of it, but I like the little holes, little gap holes. It just looks a little bit fancier to me. Okay, so now we've got the fireplace built on the inside, but we need to vent it. So let's head back outside. Okay, now to vent this, there's several ways you can do it. You can pop a chimney up to the top of the roof. There's all kinds of ways, but I like knock this little hole out right here, and we grab the wood wall by one, and we close out the outside wall here. And so this will vent the smoke out of the house and also protect the fireplace from rain. Now, if you like the look of a fireplace, you can always add, of course, an external chimney. But I've come to really like this style here. Okay, so we have ourselves a basic house. Let's go ahead and get a good look at it here. Not a bad looking house, but we can make it much, much better. First off, the more windows, the better. So let's go ahead and put another window right here. We use the half walls and then the wood wall by one. Some thin slats. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and get to the detailing. So if you have a basic house and you just want it to look better, there are some things you can do, relatively simple, that will really take it to, a whole new level. Okay, so first off, I think one of the best things you can do for aesthetics is to kind of make a lattice around the bottom of the house. So using the 26-degree wood cross, I'm just going to connect it to the framing. And this will give the house more support, but also it will make it look better and hide kind of any of the ground imperfections. Now this big dirt lump is because of the fireplace. You can try to bring it down a little bit. This is just how much it would bother you. It's up to you. You do want to keep the ground raised though for the most part. We don't want our fireplace sinking. Now again, if you have a hard time getting these X's to line up where they should, don't forget you just use a half wall and they'll snap right in place. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm struggling a little bit here. So we just lay the half wall down. Which, by the way, you can just use the half wall if you like the look of that. Give the house more of like a little taller look, just coming straight at the ground. But personally, I kind of like more of the lattice look. Just a little bit fancier. Just get her to snap in place. All right, we're gonna use half wall here too. The only problem with the half wall is trying to demo it without demoing the X, but as long as you're just careful and look to see what part's glowing, it's not too bad at all. Already making it a little bit nicer. Now, framing the house, strictly for aesthetics, but literally just taking these poles, both 1 meter and 2 meter, both the poles and the beams, just kind of outlining the house with them. So when you have this spot here where there's two different wood pieces butted up to each other, I like to stretch a long one over both of them so it kind of looks like it's giving it support and bring them together. And then we can actually even break the one at the bottom and just connect this one along 2 meter right there, so it actually digs down into the ground. Now obviously I'm doing the 4 corners, but we don't stop there. We're gonna frame the entire house. Okay, so now we're gonna also run it across the roof. Now these little knobs coming from the fireplace are easily taken care of, just by using other wood to give it some detail. You can decorate these any way you want. Just grab these beams and just kind of give it a little direction. Now, the windows is where real detail starts coming in. Anytime you have an opening, I really recommend, unless it takes up, too much of the view, I'd recommend slapping some beams in place. Let's do this all the way around. And for the little windows here. Excellent. Now you can leave it like that, but I think it adds a little bit more if you've got the room. Go ahead and grab the poles, and you'll want to just slap it right there, kind of squared. But I find if you roll the mouse wheel so that it brings it diagonal, it gives just a little more depth to the windows. Again, I'm just rolling the mouse wheel, kind of bring it diagonal, and it just gives the windows just a little bit more flair. Now, if that's too much, taking up too much space there, of course, you can just hold off on the side braces. Okay, so we have some bronze nails. So once you get to the Bronze Age, with bronze nails, you can make the wood shutters. And you're just gonna put these up each side of the window. Now, the real detail comes when you go inside. Go inside and interact with them. It will pop them open, making a satisfying sound while you do it. Look at that. That's cute, right? And now you can also make new snap points in the game just by putting down really any building piece here. So if I wanted to connect this piece straight up to this beam, it doesn't want to snap at all. It makes it very difficult. But if I took the 1 meter beam and snapped it in a natural point, it now makes a new snap point right here on the end of it. So I can grab that same beam that wouldn't snap a second ago, and it'll snap right in place right there. Okay, so then we can break that. And now you can build off of that. Now, on its own, that may not seem like that big of a deal, but that's going to open up your options to build all kinds of things that wouldn't otherwise really want to snap in place and work naturally. Now, since there's a divider already between these two pieces, there's already a snap point here. I don't need to do that. But if it was smooth here, if you had 2 meter beam here, you can go ahead and snap down another piece sideways and up to give you a snap point in the center. Then grabbing the beam, we can then rotate that as well. Look at that. Little divider in the window. Okay. Coming along, right? Now in detailing the house, you could take log beams and run them all the way across, give it a little more look or flair. You can of course do this vertically as well. On the side beams here, these posts, instead of using the beams, you can just use the logs, and you can frame the entire house that way. It's really your preference, what you like. For this house, I'm going to go back to just the beams. But you know, let your imagination run wild. Experiment. The roof kind of butts itself up to the house a little too much. In your settings, under controls, you have the alternative placement option, spacebar. This will prevent things from snapping in place if you don't want them to. So with the alternative placement, we can grab, you know, like the 45-degree beam here, same pitch we have the roof at, and we can lay it up against it. And now right there, it just naturally wants to snap on top of it, but if I hold the spacebar down, it pops back out. And then if I just carefully line up this piece with the one in front of it, it'll create new snap points, and we can just lay another layer of roofing like that to step it out a little bit, give it just a little more depth. And you can keep doing that too. You can put another one on top of that one, hold in space, line it up, and then once you have it there, it's easy just to snap the others right in place because the new snap point that was created. You can make a whole entire roof that way if you wanted to. But see, it kind of overhangs a little bit and gives you a little more depth. But I'm going to show you something to do with the roof that's even better than that. Now the framing also, don't just stop with the side of the house. If you have any stairs, frame the side of those. Make sure it's lined up correctly. Now you're going to get this where it doesn't quite go all the way to the ground. Just point at the bottom of that one. There you go. If you need to, just add more stairs to it as well. Well, I don't know about you, but I think it's looking a lot better already. Now with the detailing, you can again grab between the beams and the crosses. You can make all kinds of designs in the house, which will again give it even more detail. It's these little things like this that you add on that just really kind of take it to a whole different level. You can do the X's instead, whatever you like, you know? So like right here, if we wanted a window up high, maybe like an attic roof, we can break that. And then you could use, just an example, you could use the angled wood walls. Sun glare is really bad. That's just an example. You could do a wide open beam, another square. Just don't forget with these tools, you can make a lot of different things. I actually just like, this house is so small, it doesn't really need an attic window. Now, framing, as I mentioned, adds a lot of detail. You should do it wherever you can, but right here at the top of the door, you may be tempted to put one there. If you do that, you're not gonna be able to walk in. Like you hit your forehead, you can't walk in. So if you want to put one above the door, you actually have to use the space bar and just manually place it above the door. And go about 1 millimeter above the door too, so you don't get any instance where your head hits it. There we go. Okay, so finally, I want to show you game-changing upgrade to just about any building. Depending on how you pitch your roof. This isn't going to be necessarily possible in every building, but this is really cool. And I can't take the credit on this one. As I said before, I would double frame the houses up until I've discovered this, but shout out to 9byte who made a fantastic video on roofs. I'll link it in the description. This basically solved the problem I've always had with roofs in Valheim. So they either overhang too much or they butt up too much, and this fixes that altogether. So first we have to demo off the whole roof. We're not going to need any of the wood paneling. Okay, so what you're going to do for the roof is you're going to, right here at the top of it, just pick a corner and stick a wood beam 1 meter straight out there and there. And while you're at it, go ahead and just create a square. Then you're going to take the wood beam 2 meter and you're going to run it right across the edge of the house. And then you're going to support it as well. So basically, in this case, you go by the size of the roof. You can do it every single panel or every second panel. Maybe like just use another one meter beam to kind of pull it back to the house again, just support it. And then we're going to put another square on this end. Yeah, we're just going to support, personally, you choose what you want. We're going to support each one here. At the end of every single 2 meter beam, we're going to put a 1 meter beam back in the house, just for looks. Yeah, I'm going to do that on the other side now. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here. We're going to grab our roof piece again, the same angle, 45-degree angle, and we're going to attach it to the actual very end of this piece here. And that's where we're going to lay the roof down. So just all the way across, right here to the end. We're going to go ahead and butt it right up to the end piece. And then just butt each panel up to the panel next to it. And if you do it correctly, it should completely come exactly to the end of the other overhang. Having this frame also gives you something to stand on, making this whole process a little bit easier. Okay, and then for the top, we're just going to grab the 45-degree pitch. Then we're just going to lay them down, one right after the next. Look at that. And then we're going to frame that by grabbing the same angled wood beams as is the pitch of the roof. So in this case, 45 degrees. Connect them right here, right up the side. And then, of course, like any self-respecting Viking, we're going to grab 45-degree cross to put overhang there. And then we do the same on the back. Look at that. Isn't that so much better? Now here, you can also, if it bugs you, once it's up, you can break these little supports here in the front. You won't need them anymore. And then if it bothers you with this gap here, you can run the roof all the way up. You're going to use this beam here as the base support for 45-degree angled roof. Before I climb up there, let's go ahead and fill in the rest. Now it might be good to make a little attic window right there. And then we can grab the 45-degree cross. Now you can stop at any point you want with this roof when you're satisfied with it, but if you're a perfectionist, you can come up and perfect it like that. Let me just fix the back real quick. If you like the little window look, you can leave it there. You can frame it. And now with the extended roof, we can actually make the chimney up there. So we can go ahead and break this part down, fill this gap in, then reframe at the top here. There. And then of course we just dress it up. Get a better look at it. Look at, isn't that so much better? And then eventually, once you get to the plains, you'll find tar, and that'll unlock dark wood, and you can upgrade everything into a much more elegant design. And remember, I'm just showing you the basics here, giving you some extra tools and ideas. There are all kinds of things that people have come up with out there, some really creative designs, and I invite you to experiment. Well, that is all I have for you today, but I shall return soon with more knowledge. Until we meet again, may the drums of victory guide you home always!